Kike was a young teenager from Louisiana who lived with his mother in a small house near the local high school. He was a cheerful young man, though somewhat shy with strangers. He loved to study and had always been at the top of his class. He was also a good athlete. His mother, Diana, was really proud to have raised a young man like him all by herself. The death of a loved one can be a devastating experience for anyone, especially a child. For Kike, losing his mother was particularly difficult to bear. He was only 12 years old when his mother died suddenly from a stroke. No one expected it, no one except Kike. He and his mother had always lived alone. He never knew his father and he didn't really care. Kike knew how hard his mother worked every day to make money for the two of them, and all the sacrifices she'd made since he came into the world to give him a full and happy life. If his father decided to miss it, it was his decision, and it was probably for the best. Whenever someone asked his mother about the boy's father, she looked down. Her shame, the pain hidden in all her silences was evident. "My son has no father, miss, and he doesn't need him, he has me. That's more than enough," she answered each time. Kike knew how hard it had been for them to survive, to make a place for themselves in society and lead a more or less normal life. He felt fortunate for every day to have his mother, but he knew that she suffered and the sorrow she carried inside her was what took her away from this world. "Mom, you don't have to carry everything by yourself. I can help you. I'm getting older. Let me take care of you," he told her when he saw her sitting on the sofa dead tired. "You only have to do one thing for me, honey. Live. Do everything I have not been able to do. Show everyone what you're capable of. Teach them that a person's origin, his humility, does not determine the place you'll occupy in the world. Dream and live big, my love. That's your only duty to me." "I will, Mom, I promise you. I'll be the best student and the best son. I'll do it for you." Kike strived every day to keep that promise. Eventually, he discovered that there were two great passions in his life, sports and science. He became valedictorian of his class, and during his first 2 years of high school, he won every science contest he entered. On the other hand, he tried out for the basketball team and was accepted. Kike was almost 6 feet tall, strong and slim, and had always liked to keep moving. Gifts that the basketball team's coach did not overlook when he decided to make him the team's small forward. His mother was proud of him, although she was a very reserved woman and hardly told him so. However, Kike never needed that. It was enough for him to see her quietly at home or to watch her sitting in the stands during his basketball games. Kike continued to strive, and little by little as he got older, so did his accomplishments. He turned 16 and all his teachers were congratulating him and starting to ask him where he wanted to go to college and what he wanted to do for a living. "I don't know yet. I have to think about it. Sports and science are my two great loves. I need to meditate on it and talk to my family before making a decision." Kike's only family was his mother, and of course what she said or thought would have a great weight in his final decision. For one thing, Kike knew that if he became an athletic scholarship student, he would have to travel and live away from his mother, something he was not happy about. And on the other, there was the option of pursuing a career in science, medicine perhaps, which would allow him to be close to home and his mother. But Kike didn't have time to ask his mother that question. One night in May while he was training for basketball, his mother's heart stopped forever. The doctors could do nothing but confirm her death, and Kike couldn't even be by her side in her last moments to say goodbye to her, or even offer his help and call 911. "You couldn't have done anything else, son. Your mother suffered a very serious stroke. Her survival was not an option. Don't blame yourself," the doctor explained, who that night attended his mother and notified her death. But Kike couldn't help himself. His mother was his whole world, and she had given her whole life to ensure that his would be a happy one, and she'd gone alone. From that night on, Kike was never the same. His main goal from that day his mother died was to fulfill the promise he'd made to her a few weeks earlier. "I promise you that I'll try my best to be the best at whatever I set my mind to. Whether it's basketball or science, whatever it is, Mom, I'll strive to make you proud of me and to give you a better life." That was the promise of a teenager who didn't believe in the possibility of being completely alone in the world at the age of 16. He was full of illusion and felt strong because he only needed his mother's support to go ahead and bet on his dreams. But it happened, and although the plan didn't change, the way he was going to have to carry it out did. Kike didn't feel excited about anything. His house was empty and the silence was like a hammer pounding directly on his heart. The last months of high school were very hard, and although he had the company of his neighbors and class friends, nothing could fill the emptiness left by his mother. That's why Kike made a decision that would revolutionize his life and the lives of those who knew him. Every day he would visit his mother after school. There wouldn't be a single day that he didn't go to see her. It became his ritual. It was the way to continue to be with his mother, to continue to feel that he was by her side and that she was with him every step he took. "Hi Mom, how are you? I still miss you a lot, you know. Although every day hurts a little less. Coming to see you makes everything easier. Talking to you gives me so much peace. I need to tell you so many things." Kike sat for about an hour in front of his mother's grave. He would talk to her and bring her his test scores, pictures of his basketball games, and even his college admission letters. Every day he visited her without fail, even if it was raining or too hot. He never missed his appointment, and that ended up attracting the attention of the neighbors and the people who strolled near the cemetery. One day, after much waiting and quietly watching young Kike visit the grave, an elderly woman who lived near the cemetery and who would be about 70 years old approached him, worried about him, and asked about his routine. Kike was kneeling in front of his mother's grave that afternoon, raining non-stop, and although he was carrying an umbrella to protect himself, the young man was completely soaked. "Are you all right, honey? You're soaking wet. You should move or you'll end up getting sick. Let me help you. I live nearby," the woman told him kindly and very worried about him. Kike didn't answer and kept staring at his mother's grave with a piece of paper in his hands. The woman didn't give up and asked him again. "Please talk to me and let me help you. Who do you visit here every day? Tell me something, honey. We're both going to end up sick if we keep standing in the rain much longer," the woman begged. Finally, Kike looked at her. He opened and shared his heartbreaking story of his mother's passing. "It's my mother, ma'am. I come to my late mother's grave. She died just a few months ago and I don't want to resign myself to live without her," Kike answered in tears. He never uttered those words out loud before, and even less in front of a complete stranger. The woman was speechless. She didn't know what to say to comfort him. She didn't expect that answer and answered with another question. "You can tell me more if you need to. How'd your mother die? What are all the papers you bring to her grave?" "My mother died of grief. She never told me, but I know. Her body struggled for years. She endured criticism from all over the world for raising a child alone. She fought for me, for my future. Her effort cost her life, I know that. She died of a stroke, but I know that deep down her body was exhausted and has finally rested." "And the papers you bring?" "They're my notes, my files, letters I receive. Anything I get or do, I bring to her. My connection with her will never die, that's why I'm here. So that it will never die. This letter in my hands is the letter of admission to the college she always wanted to go to. I was telling her about it, that we made it." The woman couldn't believe it. She put her hands to her face to hold back the tears. The story of Kike and his mother touched her deeply. She stayed at Kike's side, brought her umbrella close to him, and sat down next to him to wait while he continued to look at the grave with a paper in his hands and crying. "Calm down, I won't leave. I'll stay with you until you need me. My name's Anna, nice to meet you." "My name's Kike. Thank you, Anna. It's very important for me to be here and to keep my connection with my mother alive." Kike and Anna became good friends, and for him she was a great support during his mother's grieving process. However, that touching scene in the cemetery did not go unnoticed by the rest of the people walking around the area that afternoon. Someone decided to record it all and share it on the internet, making the story of Kike and his mother become a viral video on social networks. A TikTok video shared in April 2023 captured Kike visiting his mother's grave and quickly went viral, touching the hearts of thousands of people around the world. In the video, Kike sat at his mother's grave, held a piece of paper, and talked to her in tears. It was Kike's way of honoring his mother's memory and keeping her alive, his most sacred ritual that showed that the bond between mother and son is stronger than death. The pain of losing his mom was still very real for Kike, but he found comfort in believing she was smiling down on him and proud of him. After learning it had gone viral, Kike agreed to speak with local media to clarify his story and better explain what the video means, sharing, "I miss her a lot, and even though she's in heaven, I know she sees me and is very proud of me. I come here to show them my grades, the admission letters to the universities, or to finish my pending work. She gives me strength and inspires me to keep going." The boy's story deeply moved the people. As expected, the footage touched the hearts of many who can relate to losing a loved one. As the video of the boy visiting his mother's grave continues circulating on social media, more and more people are becoming aware of his story. Eventually, Kike shared that he had started living with his maternal grandmother. He never met him as his mother left home when she became pregnant and lost contact, but through that video, his grandmother was able to find him and proposed that he move in with her. Despite the difficult situation Kike was in, he remained optimistic and determined to make his mother proud. The outpouring of emotion and support from people who've seen the video has been overwhelming. Many have expressed their sadness for the difficult circumstances the boy was facing and the pain of losing a parent at such a young age. Kike's life was completely transformed after that afternoon in the cemetery, but his love and dedication to his mother never disappeared. He now lived with his grandmother, who also lost a daughter, a sadness she shared with Kike that made them both feel less lonely. Kike continued to visit his mother. He didn't care about fame. He continued to strive to fulfill the promise he made to his mother before she died, and so he let her know one afternoon in front of her grave, "I'll be a doctor, Mom, and I'll save many lives. I'll become the best so that I can prevent other children from losing their mothers as I lost you. You'll always be with me in every step I take and in every one of my successes. Thank you, Mom. Your sacrifice is my greatest source of inspiration." Everyone will forever remember this story of Kike in his mother's grave. He showed society that love is the most powerful tool for the change we possess. Kike taught them that love transcends the barriers of space and time, and that our loved ones are never completely gone as long as we continue to live for them.